This is my senior warden, and my renter warden, Sir David Wooten. And then we have my junior warden, Mr. Peter Alakar, and under warden, John Barber.
Company of Park and the Musketeers, have a care!
We give thanks to God for this past year, for gifts of life and health, remembering those in sickness and those we see no longer. We give thanks to God for the present moment, for food to strengthen us, wine that we may share our blessings and bring hope to others. O God of every grace, past, Amen. Amen.
That you rise and join with him in the singing of grace, the words of which you will find in your merr.
letter of loyal greetings to Her Majesty the Queen on behalf of the Guild of Freemen of the City of London. I have today received the following personal letter from Buckingham Palace. Dr. John Smale, Master of the Guild of Freemen of the City of London. Please convey my warm thanks to the Wardens, Court of Assistants, and members of the Guild of Freemen of the City of London for their loyal greetings, sent on the occasion of their annual Lord Mayor's banquet, which is being held tonight at Guildhall. I much appreciate your thoughtfulness in writing as you did, and in return, send my good wishes to all those who are present for a most memorable and enjoyable evening. Elizabeth R. The Queen. Gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save our Queen. Send her victorious, happy and glorious. Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, the Prince of Wales, the Duchess of Cornwall, the Princess Royal Past Master, and the other members of the royal family. Royal family. Your Excellency, to the President of Albania. Oh my God. The President of Albania.
General, Your Excellencies, Your Grace, my Lords, Alderman, Sheriff, Mr. Dean, Chief Commoner, ladies and gentlemen, pray silence for the Master.
Wardens, my Lord Mayor, locum tenens, Mr. President, Your Royal Highnesses, Your Serene Highnesses, Governor General, Your Excellencies, Your Grace, my Lords, Aldermen, Sheriff, Mr. Dean, Chief Commoner, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, may I extend a very warm welcome to you all to our annual banquet. The Guild is very honored and privileged in having so many illustrious guests here this evening from all over the United Kingdom and the world. Firstly, we are honored to have with us the Right Worshipful Lord Mayor, Alderman Ian Luda, and Mrs. Lynn Luda. Also among us are their Royal Highnesses Crown Princess Margarita, Prince Radu, and Prince Nicholas of Romania, and Her Majesty's Governor-General of Antigua and Barbuda, His Excellency Sir Rodney Williams and Lady Williams. However, my pleasant duty this evening is to welcome His Excellency Mr. Ftuar Nishani, President of the Republic of Albania, and the First Lady, who are here on a formal visit to this country and have come straight from an audience with His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales. Now, Guildhall is no stranger to the concept of international assembly, acting it as it has for many warrior hero, Skanderbeg, whose epic fight in the defense of European civilization in the 15th century is an example to us all. In modern times, we celebrate the work of an Albanian national, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, who has inspired generations throughout the world and in whose honor countless streets and squares, as well as the Albanian International Airport, are named. 18 months ago, I was privileged to attend a luncheon on the occasion of a visit by the Mayor of Tirana, His Excellency Mr. Luzim Basha, which marked the historic exchange of freedoms between our two capital cities and the centenary of Albania's hard-fought independence. It is always too easy to forget that it is only 22 years since Albania was rid of one of the worst communist and Stalinist regimes ever. Since then, the economic and political reforms undergone have been enormous and far-reaching. Albania is now fully integrated into Europe and the world at large, and is now a candidate country for the European Union. Now, the City of London, on the other hand, is home to the oldest continuous municipal democracy in the world, with here in Guildhall being the center of government for more than 1,000 years. Now is an opportunity to celebrate and build on the partnerships being forged between our two countries, which are based on a realization of the economic and political advantages which we can both enjoy through working together ever more closely. Your Excellency, we were moved by your participation on Remembrance Day in the laying of a wreath in the memory of British civilians and soldiers fallen in the Second World War and who rest in the National Park of Tirana. Your visit and this evening marks another great moment in the strengthening of ties between our two capitals and countries. It therefore gives me great pleasure to welcome you and introduce you as our first guest speaker. Thank you.
Master, Wardens, my Lord Mayor, Mr. President, Your Royal Highnesses, Your Sovereign Highnesses, Governor General, Your Excellencies, Your Grace, my Lords, Aldermen, Sheriff, Mr. Dean, Chief Commoner, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me and the First Lady to be part of this august gathering, the annual banquet of the Guild of Freemen of the City of London. I would like to express my thanks to the Master and Court of the Guild of Freemen of the City of London for the very kind invitation to be present here tonight in this historical Guild Hall. I would like to especially thank Court Assistant Sir Anthony Bailey, a good and long-standing friend of Albania, and who first brought to my attention the important work that your guild undertakes across this ancient city. I'm particularly pleased to represent my country, Albania, and my people in the heart of the world's leading global financial center and in the presence of the Lord Mayor and his party. My visit follows another historical occasion, the exchange of civic freedoms between the City of London and the City of Tirana at Mason House last year to mark the 100th anniversary of the Albanian independence. As part of these celebrations, and on 28 November 2012, the statue of our national hero, George Kastriot Skanderbeg, a leading defender of European civilization and Christianity against the Ottoman Empire, was unveiled in the city of Westminster and stands today in the heart of London as a symbol of our identity and civilization, and the growing partnership and friendship which exist between the Albania and British people. I'm the president of a proud and ancient country, small in size and fame. A country that until 25 years ago, not many had heard of, or very few had ever visited. I say 25 years ago, as Albania was the last country in Europe to break the Iron Curtain and to earn the much-wanted freedom from one of the most atrocious regimes in the history of mankind, and Verhoeven's communist regime. The few who had visited prior to the communist rule were mostly British travelers, historians, scholars, and writers, as it happened elsewhere in the world too. The country was, since the early days of the European Renaissance, a sort of exotic mix with ancient history and very early human culture, mixed with natural beauty and strong human characters who worshipped nature's gods and goddesses and pray to the earth, the very virtue that distinguished Albanians from ancient times till today. Our culture and tradition, our history and life is built on trust and oath. We are proud of our ancient Illyrian heritage, later mixed with the Roman and Byzantine empires, as well as 5 centuries of Ottoman rule. That land where Albanians live is the place where Saint Paul, on his way to bring Christianity to Europe, blessed himself and gave his first service to this part of the world. A land that produced men of trust brave enough to rescue Jews during the Holocaust, making Albania and Albanians a rare case among its neighbors and beyond, a land that has given origin to an extraordinary symbol of humanity, Mother Teresa, a country proud of its interreligious harmony among its Muslims, Orthodox, Catholics communities, and other faiths and none. A country which weeks ago Pope Francis chose as the first country in Europe to officially visit. We were this unique brand in Europe that only a few writers and poets, such as Shakespeare, Lord Byron, Edward Lear, Benjamin Disraeli, Edith Durham, and a few others, many of them British by blood and virtue, managed to visit and leave their writings and impressions on the land of eagles, on their culture and traditions. We won our independence in 1912, much later than many others in our neighborhood, but that also had a price. It was here in London where in 1913 Albania's administrative borders were recognized, and many modern historians believe today that if it wasn't for Sir Edward Grey, the British Foreign Secretary of the time, probably we would not have an Albanian independent state today. The British continued to play a major role in Albania. King Zog, the architect of the Albanian monarchy, tried to adopt a British administration and build up a monarchy and a state similar to your tried and tested model, although he ultimately failed many years later, owing to the Italian invasion of Albania in 1939. It was also in London and Buckinghamshire that the king, Albanian king, spent part of his wartime exile, and long before his royal remains were finally returned from Paris to the land of his birth in 2012, and the state funeral accorded to him. In 1990, when the Iron Curtain fell around Eastern Bloc and in Europe, Albania remained the last to break free. It was then the late Prime Minister Baroness Margaret Thatcher and certain distinguished members of the House of Commons who were directly involved in rescuing Albania from communist rule and making it possible for us to join the Western world. Thanks to you, the United Kingdom, and our common traditional ally, United States, the Albanians in Kosovo were saved of the worst genocide of the modern times after the Holocaust. Kosovo is today a free and independent state, and the Balkans have finally found peace, and Albania is a strong supporter of the region's stability and prosperity. Our relations are strong and solid. We are both people who subscribe to peace, a world free of terrorism and any ideological or religious extremisms. Albania, thanks again to your support and partnership, is a full member of the world's most important alliance, NATO. We also work side by side for peace, freedom, and rule of international law in many international institutions, such as the United Nations, OSCE, Council of Europe, and other organizations. This year in June, Albania was granted EU candidate status, and we all look forward to join the European Union as a full member. As was discussed at my early audience with His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, our bilateral cooperation focuses on many areas, from the legal and judiciary system to military, education, and economic cooperation. Big British companies such as Vodafone and GlaxoSmithKline are very successful in the Albanian market. We do hope that their success will encourage other British investors and companies from all sectors to explore new opportunities offered by the Albanian market, as BP recently announced. I hope too that the Lord Mayor will visit for furthering cementing our relations. Well, I made these short remarks tonight, which many of you might think it is a lesson of history. But there are countries and people in the world whose history has overpassed their fame and culture. This is Albania, and these are the Albanians. I welcome you, Master, and all members of the Guild to become the future child heralds, Lord Byron's character, and to discover my country with its rich culture and unseen beauty, where hospitality is our value, and Besa, the oath and trust, is our philosophy. Thank you for the honor you have all given me and my delegation tonight, and please allow me to take this opportunity to convey to you all our warmest greetings and wishes for a happy and holy Christmas and a prosperous New Year 2015. It is now my distinct pleasure to invite you all to stand in a toast to the Lord Mayor, the City of London Corporation, and the sheriffs. the Lord Mayor, the City of London Corporation, and the sheriffs.
And the Lady Mayoress.